Hey, Gator Nation! Welcome back to the Respect Our Decision Pod of the People, our weekly Q&A show that we do exclusively for our YouTube channel. So if you haven't already, this is your first time watching us, go ahead, if you wouldn't mind, hit that subscribe button and drop a like on the video and maybe even a comment below about, maybe a question for next week's episode or just thoughts. Or if you'd like to be entered into our new giveaway for the Scared Money Don't Make Money t-shirt that from our friends at Alma Mater, make sure you're subscribed, you drop a like on the video, and leave a comment down below, and you are automatically entered into the giveaway for that t-shirt at the end of the month. So, guys, without further ado, we're going to jump right into it. Wes, what's our first question of the week?
Our first question is from Ryan Parker. I saw you engaged with him on Facebook this week.
Yeah, send it to me. Send it to me, Ryan.
I'm gonna send it to you. But before I go, I want to say thank you to you all for following us on Facebook and our Twitter and listen to our podcast on YouTube as well. But patrons out there, sponsors out there, guys, go ahead and give. I didn't say this on our original podcast earlier this week, but go ahead and give us that sponsor. It's Father's Day, and do all what you can as far as helping us out, and not only helping us out, but helping them out as well. So, but Hirsch, to what you said, Ryan said to this, and you guys talked on Facebook, but to our listeners who didn't see you guys on Facebook, he said, I know it's something we like to talk about, but if you had to pick which current commit is the likely to flip from UF to another school, not one that we can flip to us. Like,
yes, who might we lose out of this class is basically
exactly
what Ryan's asking.
Look, I know.
Lagway. Yeah, DJ Lagway is going to Clemson. Yeah, no, I'm just, all jokes aside, I know the easy answer here would be Chauncey Bowens because he's the one taking the official visit to Georgia, and he's the guy that's probably the most rumored. If Florida was to lose a guy, it would be Chauncey. I'm not going to go with Chauncey because that's low hanging fruit, and I'm not doing it. My honest answer is Josiah Davis, because I think there's a very good probability he might get pushed out of the class. Now, I know Corey Raymond likes the kid, and there's a very good probability he stays in the class. But if you ask me today, with limited scholarships and so many prospects on the board, who's the most likely to end up at another school as of today? It's Josiah Davis for that reason I just said.
I have no disagreement with what you just said, especially with the number of numbers we can take and the guys that still in the DB/safety/ star nickel positions that we have. So I agree with you there. Sort of what we had happen to our wide receiver that decommitted late. Well, I don't want to say he decommitted, but he got pushed out last year.
The kid that went to UCF that was, flirted with UCF forever.
I'm more Creed with him more.
Yeah.
Our Creed. Yeah, Creed too. That was a whole different situation with his brother leaving and everything else. He just kind of got soured on the whole situation. But I now if Josiah Davis blows up this season and absolutely just looks, his tape looks even better, after his season on the field, and the staff's like, look, we can't let this kid go, he won't leave. That simple. If he has an average season and the staff looks at his tape from this season and says, really not seeing the progression we thought we would see, best for both parties. Hey, maybe you should go on and look at somewhere else. Like, he's from South Georgia. Hey, maybe Georgia Southern would be a good school for you to go to, somewhere like that. You never know with these kids. I know Louisville, he's thought about taking a visit to Louisville as well, so that's a possibility.
All right, CJ, next question is for you. Shout out to our boy Justin Wood, who always asks good questions this week. He kind of filled us up this week, and we appreciate that, Justin, giving us the content for this particular podcast. So, CJ, this is from Justin on yesterday. He said, who's the big-time recruit that Florida has a real chance with that nobody is even speaking about?
I guess I would say Jordan Ross. Is a guy that really nobody really has talked a whole lot about with us because I don't think anybody thought we had a real chance with him. I think I think we have a solid chance. I think if you get him here and say, hey man, next year, you coming out week 1, brother. You're gonna be in pads and you're gonna be on the field immediately. We're not gonna waste the time with you. We're gonna let you play. That might be really tempting to a guy like that. I don't know how much that really means to him because I don't know him personally. But if that's something we can hang our hat on, and we could say, listen, man, Florida's going on 11 straight years of putting a defensive lineman in the draft now, which nobody else is doing. Quietly, we're doing that. So, you hang your hat on something like that. Maybe he changes his mind. Maybe he comes on to Florida. Maybe he says, you know what, Tennessee, Georgia, I'm sorry. I want to go to Florida. And I think that could be a really big pickup for us. And I think that if we're talking about a kid that people don't think Florida lands, he's flying low, I would probably say Jordan Ross.
I heard. Next question is for you. This is from Justin Cordero. It seems like him and Justin Wood always seems to like they ask questions back to back and kind of get me confused at sometimes. But Hirsch, this next question is from Justin Cordero. And I like this question. And I'm kind of, even if you don't understand what he's saying, I'm going to kind of interpret it. Justin, if I'm wrong, you can correct me. But he says, if now, rank your staff in terms of recruiter rankings. And what I'm going to interpret that is Hirsch, if you had any idea where you may go, I'm going to kind of add on to what Justin is saying. If you had to rank the position groups just for Florida, not in the country, just as Florida, how would you rank each position coach as far as their recruiting ranking goes?
Raymond's number one. I mean, that to me goes without saying. Right now, with us losing Colbert,
I like this question.
Come on, say it. Say it. You
I
know
might
you
have
want
to
say
put
it.
Bateman at number 2 right now.
Yeah.
Now, that's based on this year's haul. I'm not basing it all, man, that's close. Him and Chaos are neck and neck, but Chaos not getting me my defensive tackle right now is kind of giving him a little bit of a hedge. After those three, Billy Gonzalez probably has to drop in there because he's proven. I mean, Billy Gonzalez has done his, fair share.
You got to show some love to Coach O'Hara.
I was about to say
Coach O'Hara's not a primary recruiter though.
I was gonna. So if you don't use
he's our quarterback guy.
So what are you gonna put? If you don't use O'Hara, you gotta put Billy Napier.
I mean, if I'm using O'Hara, then I gotta go then the Joe Hamilton and guys like that. I mean,
so let's use Napier for O'Hara because he's really the quarterback guy because he's running offense.
Sure, okay, throw him in there.
Somebody's get these damn quarterbacks to school.
Like I said, okay, so Corey Raymond, Bateman, Chaos, Wes is there's Wes. We'll say O'Hara, we'll throw him in there and Billy Gonzalez right there neck and neck because I really, Billy Gonzalez has a proven track record. I'm not holding what Mullen did to him against him. My goodness. Shoot, who's after that? It's just like, my Lord. Like, the two offensive line coaches are both, they're not getting solid grades right now.
And Mike P is not doing
Mike P is at the bottom of my list as of right now. So I'm trying to think if I left anyone out. Russ Callaway gets an incomplete. You
can't fairly rank him yet
until he gets a commitment. I can't say anything about him. So golly, I don't know. I really don't know what else to say about that. And as far as some of these guys, Wes is having some technical difficulties right now with his sound. So I'm going to go ahead and ask a couple of our questions that we had off of our YouTube video last week while he gets his audio squared away. Our first one obviously, as always, comes from our man, Lucas the Gator Man. Oh, Wes is coming back.
He's back. We're good.
Wes, I'm gonna ask these YouTube questions real quick. I was in the middle of asking these YouTube questions real quick while you get squared back away.
Go ahead.
Lucas the Gator Man. Lucas always asks in our comments to our video, do we have a chance to flip Jonathan Eccles on his official visit this week? Lucas, CJ, you go ahead and answer that one.
Yeah, we got a chance to flip him. I think that if you can sell him on Billy Gonzalez is going to be very, important to the flip if it's going to happen. Billy's going to have to sell him. He's like, look, man, I've taken all these big-bodied receiver kids. I've turned them into, really good players, gotten them drafted. You could be another one. That's what we want you as. We want you to be that kind of guy, to be a big-bodied receiver, just a unicorn, a guy that doesn't really is a matchup nightmare, kind of like what Arliss Boardingham is right now, what Kyle Pitts was, what a lot of these guys that we've had come through here, like those guys that are just absolute freak athletes. They're kind of sketchy to play tight end because, they're not really big enough to really block. Like, they're not just blockers, but they're such talented athletes at the wide receiver position that you really want to see you can get them the football to be a matchup nightmare. They're too fast for linebackers, too big for corners. So, yeah, I think definitely you could flip a guy like that. I think his position is wide open. Who's he fighting? If they bring him in, they obviously, if they're bringing him in for a niche position like this, that means that they have taken a position and created one for their offense to immediately plug him into it. If you could sell him on that, yeah, for sure, definitely you could change his mind from Tennessee. It's going to be hard because Tennessee's offense is ridiculously good, and Josh Heupel knows how to really get the best out of his offense. So I think that it's going to be hard, but I think you could definitely do it.
We had two questions from Clifford Abernathy. Clifford, thank you so much for sending these questions in. We're going to try to get both these answered for you. First one I'll ask to you, Wes. If we have 5 or 6 freshmen ball out this year, can we get the 8 wins?
Yeah, we're not going to get enough predictions yet, but to me, it's more about progression and recruiting. And I already think that 2 of our receivers are going to show us something. And how many did he say again?
5 to 6.
I can see 4. Not 5 is my ceiling.
He said, can we get to 8 wins if 5 to 6 ball out?
If 5 to 6 ball out, we can get to 8 wins. But I'm seeing our floor right now as far as freshmen at 4. So I'm gonna answer this question in a twofer, and I'm gonna say I see 4 of our freshmen balling out, and I see our ceiling at 8 wins if that happens. But I don't see us get to his number as far as 5 or 6, or 5 to 8.
All right, CJ, let me ask you this. His second question, going to edge, who do you think we'll most likely get? And do you think we have a chance to get an elite top edge or 2?
I hope so.
I mean, you got a chance. You're punching up right now. I kind of touched on Jordan Ross. Colin Simmons, he's out here at the NIL convention on 3 flashing the L, Louisiana State. I think that he's probably going to go there, so I don't think that's an option. Maybe somebody else is out there we just really don't know about. Dalen Evans seems to be like the main guy right now that we're really, really close to. Can you get him to flip? I hope you can. Like I said, there are some guys that I'm really excited about that are on the team right now as far as the edge position goes, but you really need to get some more. It's so hard right now because there's just not a bunch of names that come to mind as far as elite edge play. But you definitely can do it. You've got some kids that are pretty high on you, that kind of seem to like us. But you got to finish the job at this point. You've got to get some. I feel like you need to get one to try to get 2. You need to get kids. You need to get it started. You need to prime the well. As they say, you need to get the thing going to try to make everything else come along. Because if you're stuck and you're just running your head against the wall, it's just an uphill battle from that point. You've got to get one to break through, and I think if you can do that, you can make it a lot easier to get more. I'm afraid of where we're at right now as far as the edge goes, because these kids come at such a high premium. They are throwing stupid money at edge rushers because they are such important talents in football, like I talk about in the main show. They're impact players. They're immediate impact players. You can get an edge rusher, and he can play extremely soon if he is an impact kid. You can get that kid on the field, and he can make an immediate impact for your team getting a kid like that. So I think you can do it, but it's going to be a fight till the end. I hope some more names start coming out eventually as far as edge goes to try to help this out a little bit to push this further along.
All right, Wes, back to your Facebook questions.
All right, this is for you, Hirsch. Brian Jones Holden said, just how big of an impact will the June camps have on Gator recruiting, including Friday Night Lights?
Oh, they're going to be huge. I mean, we're putting a lot of eggs in the June basket. So many official visits right now. I think the total is somewhere over 40. I think I saw, they're really high. I mean, we got 17 coming this weekend. Looks like it'd be about the same amount for the weekend after that, and then the third weekend. So, I mean, you're talking a lot of kids coming in a 3-week span. And then I've heard they're not trying to do Friday Night Lights the same as in years past this year. I guess we're going to have to kind of wait and see what exactly that means. I feel like it might be kind of hard to pull all these kids in for official visits 3 weekends in a row and then expect them to come back on the 4th week. You know, that's that might be a little bit of a stretch. But as I said on our main show, guys, I really want to see what we look like on July 1st. I don't expect you're going to have this weekend and 5 to 6 kids are going to commit out of this weekend. But I expect you to hear a bunch of kids say, Florida really opened my eyes. I think Florida could be home, or Florida's my leader. Decision coming in a week, 2 weeks, or my decision date is now June, whatever have you not. And then by the end of the month, say, oh man, we got 5-6 commits out of the month of June. That to me would be hitting your mark. So that's what I'd like to see.
And to add a little bit on what you said, to me, the camps and Friday Night Lights is more about the future Gators than the ones in the 24 class. And what I mean by future, I mean the 25, 26, 27 kids. As far as those camps, they get to scout and see what those kids can do.
I think I was talking more about official visits, and that's my fault. If we're
you're fine. You answered that question too, and just in case that's what he was interpreting by asking that question, I just wanted to piggyback off that and add that point in as well. As far as the camps and the Friday Night Lights, I think that's more for the guys that are sophomores and freshmen, as far as we get a good look at and develop those relationships with as they come on campus. All right, CJ, this is another one from Justin Wood. Our last 3 guys are from Justin Wood. I go to the first one with CJ, then I go back to you, Hirsch, and I'll finish up with CJ. How many O-linemen? This is simple for you, CJ. This is a good one. How many O-linemen do you guys think we take in this cycle, CJ?
3.
3. That's a good number.
Yeah.
And I hope 2 of them is.
I'm afraid of how good the 3 are. But I think you take 3 kids. I think you take a tackle for sure, and probably.
Would you say
2.
one of those? Did you say tackle? Do you want a top 100 tackle? Correct.
Oh, you want to?
Not how should I answer this? Not that you want, but do you think we need a top 100 tackle?
Hell yeah.
Okay.
I think. Listen to me. I have been beating the table for years. You do not win without a good offensive line. I have never in my life watched a team win a national championship where their quarterback can't stay off the damn dirt. It's just not going to happen. If you look at all national championship teams, they all have one thing in common. They all got a good offensive line. And if you cannot get that together, I don't care if you've got damn Barry Sanders in the backfield, he's going to get tackled. It just doesn't help anything. Your quarterback, I don't care how good DJ Lagway is, if he can't stand on his 2 legs and throw the football, we're going to be in trouble. You've got to get elite offensive lineman prospects. And not to say that our guys can't coach. They coach their ass off. They proved that. They can really develop some talented kids. But I feel like I'm saying what I said with John Hevesy. He's like, oh, yeah, no, just let them develop. Blah, blah, blah. You need to get talented kids in offensive line. And I understand that offensive line is the hardest position to grade out of high school. I get that. I totally understand that because we've seen it. You've got kids that come from running a veer offense, and you bring them in here and they can't pass block, but they were all world, all state offensive linemen, right? But you need to get kids that are elite offensive line prospects. You need to get more Rod Kearneys in the building, because if you can take what these guys can do development wise, as good as they are at coaching, and give them some elite tools to develop, you really could start see that shine through. And I'm not saying we need 3 5-star offensive linemen. Give me some kids in the top 300s, top 200s, 4-star kids. And that's all I'm asking for. You get those kids in here, you get 3 of those in here, that'll be great. I like Andrews, the interior offensive lineman. He seems really high on us. He's coming back for another visit. I'm excited about him. I would love to land a kid like him. He's highly ranked. I understand we want to tackle. I don't know who we're going to get at tackle. There's a few kids on the board, but we've missed on a few. You've got to get a tackle. We're really going to be stressing for that. And I understand tackles, they cost more. They're more effort than an interior offensive lineman. They know it. Those guys are making the big bucks, everywhere they're going to go. So it's harder to get those kids to come play. And then you don't want to have to fight the crap that we did again. When you look at how offensive line recruiting was in the portal, you don't have great offensive linemen walking around in the portal usually. That's very rare that you're able to get guys in like that. It just doesn't happen. There's not going to be 5'6" Michael Mazukas in the portal that you can just pick up. There's not going to be a bunch of Osiris Torrances walking around in the portal. So you really need to stress, you got to get some of these kids out of high school and really bolster this class with the offensive line.
Junior high, high school, college, Division I, NFL, doesn't matter. Line of scrimmage is the essence of football. You can't block or you can't rush the passer. You're going to have a long day.
Right.
Hirsch, next question from Justin. And I give CJ the last one from Justin. He says, and we kind of talked about this before. You guys, I talked about how you guys kind of swayed me over to you guys on the thought because the numbers.
Breaking up.
I think he's going to catch up. Is he going to catch up?
Uh-oh. We're losing Wes.
Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da.
The
Somebody hold up.
math.
Unfortunately.
Am I here?
Now he's back.
Now he's back. I was about to
Let me
hold up
ask
the
these two
technical
questions
difficulties,
right
son.
quick.
Wow.
What is the class average since it's almost, what do you guys think the class average will be since it's almost 95 right now? And what do you guys think the class average will be at the end of the cycle?
Ooh, that's a tough question. I mean, honestly, I could see high 93, 94. I mean, possible. It just depends. You've got to hit on some of these high 4-star, and you need another 5. You probably need another 5 in there. Would be really nice. Somebody, at least a couple of top 50s. You've got to hit on some guys to keep that average that high. But if you start taking a couple of these lower 3-star kids that you're after, Jaden Jackson, we like him. He's a good defensive tackle. But if he stays at 3-star and you take him in a class of 20 to 22 kids, obviously you're gonna drop. I mean, if you take Kendall Jackson because you missed on some others, and that's just me speculating, staff may really love Kendall Jackson and want him in this class above other guys. Hey, I don't know. I'm not in those meetings, but you take that guy ranked 378 or whatever, I'm just spitballing. Your average is going to drop. You take a guy like the Ori Williams, the kid from Texas that we're bringing in this weekend on an official visit, who's currently ranked right outside of 500. You're going to drop. You're going to get the Miami effect. So if we keep hitting on these high 4-stars, you start with a guy like Chris Jones. I mean, that class average is going to continue to hover right around that 94, 95 mark. like I said last week, guys, look at the class average on this class, not necessarily the class ranking. Because if you're only signing 20 to 22 kids, that class average is going to matter a lot more than that class ranking is going to matter. Justin, I'm sorry if I didn't all the way answer that question. That's going to be a really tough question to answer. Hit me back up in the end of June, and we'll talk about that again.
All right, last question for you, CJ. You just said what is the deadline for Austin Simmons and him reclassifying as far as him being enrolled in at Florida this year?
Justin, I read your question ahead of time, and I did a little research. The University of Florida for the Summer B program, the late registration period. So I guess, I'm not really up to date on any of that. I didn't go to Florida, so I'm not really sure how they do things. But I'm assuming last chance to get in for classes is going to be the July 3rd through the 5th period for the summer period. The last chance to register for the fall is going to be August the 23rd to the 29th, which I don't think he'll get in that late. If it's that late, he's not coming. But I think if you don't see him here within the next month, start of July, I don't think he's coming. If he's not in class by June, I don't think you're going to see Austin Simmons reclassify. But the 3rd through the 5th is the final late registration for summer B semester for the University of Florida. So that's kind of the date that I would go with.
All right, Hirsch, that's all I have.
All right, man.
Questions on Facebook.
Yes, sir. It's time for the community question of the week, and this one, man, y'all killed this one, man. Lots of responses to this one, lots of good ones. Community question of the week was, who is on your Mount Rushmore of Gator athletics? Now that's a pretty broad-ranging question right there. Now some of y'all just took that to mean football, and maybe that's all y'all care about. Maybe at the end of the day, all y'all care about is football. And hey, that's your prerogative, man. I don't get a lot of movement in watching I don't watch Gator basketball most of the time until we get to the postseason. But I'm not a huge basketball person, and I never have been. And that's just, I love some baseball. I don't watch baseball till the tournament start either. I'm a lazy watcher. What can I say? But man, we got a lot of great answers. I'm gonna read a bunch of these off, man. Ben said Tebow, Spurrier, Billy Donovan, and Trinity Thomas. Trinity Thomas showing up on a lot of people's responses, and that just shows how great an athlete she's been for the University of Florida the last few years. Wahoo Season says Lauren Hager, Tim Tebow, Vernon Maxwell, Trinity Thomas, and Brad Wilkerson. Some of y'all put an extra face on the Mount Rushmore. That's all I'm gonna say.
Y'all, they're constructing.
Yeah, some people, chiseled in a new face on the Mount Rushmore, and hey, I mean, if you got that kind of work in you. Christopher Zen, my man Chris, Spurrier, Billy Donovan, Tim Tebow, and this was a new popular one, Mike Holloway, Mouse. And of course, if you know Mike Holloway, our track and field coach, that man is the most underrated coach probably in the history of the University of Florida. That man is gold. Quintessential says Tebow, Percy Harvin, Reggie Nelson, and Fred Taylor. Hey, like I said, man, if all you want to put out there is football names, those are 4 really good football names. Gold DA says Spurrier, Billy Donovan, Mouse, and Tebow. Same answer as Chris. Toxic Male, Tebow, Spurrier, Warfel, Billy D. JC says Tebow, Spurrier, Warfel, Joakim Noah. Love me some Joakim Noah. Lucas has answered Danny Warfel, Billy Donovan, Steve Spurrier, and Emmett. Good answers, Lucas. Jacob says Tebow, Emmett, Noah, Trinity Thomas, and Keon Ratliff. Another one that decided he'd throw another face on the Mount Rushmore. Hey, good for you, man. Baker Gator says Spurrier, Tebow, Trinity Holloway, Mike Holloway, and Joakim Noah. Man, so many. Gary Taft. Head ball coach, Danny Warfel, Emmett Smith, Tim Tebow. Bill Johnson, Graves, Spurrier, Donovan, Holloway, and Walton. That man made the coaches Mount Rushmore. But hey, can't bout him. Rick Kilby, Spurrier, Donovan, Tebow, Werfel, Harrison Tyler, Tim Tebow, Steve Spurrier, Billy Donovan, Trinity Thomas. Wild and Crazy Guy says Tebow, Spurrier, Trinity Thomas, and Adonis Haslam. Adonis Haslam getting the Career Achievement Award.
That's right. He's been playing basketball since the dinosaurs over there.
El Wapo says Spurrier, Tebow, Werfel, and Emmett Smith. And Frank Rizzo says Spurrier, Emmett, Tebow, and Jack Youngblood. That's a good one. Good one. First, only guy that mentioned Jack.
Monticello man.
And D3XT3 says Noah Horford, Tebow, and Spurrier. What a time to be a Gator. Wes, what you got from the Facebook group, man?
I got a few, some similar, and I like the answers to what they, because I kind of got stuck. This was a good question, CJ. This kind of got stuck with me. But as far as the community question for my fans who listen to the podcast, and thank you guys for putting your comments in. Charles Taylor said Danny Werfel, Tim Tebow, Jack Youngblood, and Wilbur Marshall. Tim Fonville, all he put was Spurrier, so I guess Spurrier head would be on all three.
Spurrier the coach, Spurrier the player, Spurrier the NFL coach, and Spurrier the assistant, the athletic director.
The ambassador. The ambassador.
That's right.
Dustin Wood said Fred Taylor, Danny Werfel, Brad Wickerson, and Teddy Dupay.
Teddy Dupay, yes, sir.
Julian Anzalota said Tebow, Spurrier, Werfel, and Noah. Ryan Parker said Tim Tebow, Brad Wickerson, Trinity Thomas, and Lauren Hager. Theo White said Tebow, Lawrence, Barnhill. He did 5. Danny and Spurrier.
Love Kelly Barnhill being on there. What a softball player! Holy hell!
Fitzgeorge said Ted Fitzgeorge said Spurrier, Tebow, Torres, Trinity Thomas, and his 5th choice for personal reasons would be Bonnie Broyles. Jay Stubbins said, I'm going a different route. I'm going to go coaches only. And this is kind of leading on what my selections will be. Spurrier, Donovan, Sully, Walton, and Meyer. Mike Newman said Tebow, Werfel, Spurrier, Noah, Horford. Ricky Richardson said Vernon Maxwell, Smith, Taylor, Collinsworth. And that's Chris Collinsworth, who does the Sunday night games. Charlie Sapp said Emmitt Smith, Steve Spurrier, Trinity Thompson, Billy Donovan. Josh Human said Tim Tebow, Harvin, Rainey, Demps, Spikes. Sounds like a young Gator. George Pillow said Tebow, Smith, Harvin, Barnwell, and Pitts. Terrence Simmons said Tebow, Trinity, Thomas, Spurrier, Donovan. And the last 2 from Ryan Gurn first said Emmitt Smith, Tim Tebow, Spurrier, Eric Rett. And his last will be the athletic director. This is the first I've heard of that one, Jeremy Foley, which he did.
Fair enough. I mean, it's fair. Yeah. I don't disagree with it.
Yeah,
he hired a lot of guys that won a lot of hardware.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Yeah. And the last one is Mike Barner. He said Tim Tebow, Billy Donovan, Spurrier, and Smith.
Those are a lot of good choices all the way around, guys. Wes, who did you say yours were going to be? You sound like you were going coaches only.
To me, you can't because our program has been so great. I think I don't know who had it the other day that I saw. They had the most championships in the SEC, and I think Arkansas was the only one in front of us. So if you go Holloway, you go and people, and they only saw one out of both, whether it was Twitter or Facebook. Only had Urban Meyer. He won the most football championships, and that's kind of what this fan base dies by. And as much as we love Spurrier, you got to give Urban Meyer credit. He won 2 championships and had us as the preeminent program in the country. So Urban, Spurrier, and Billy D. I tussled with Sullivan, CJ to you and Holloway, but track and sustained, and I got to give track over baseball right now. So I'm going Urban, Spurrier, Billy D, and who did I miss? Spurrier, Billy D. Holloway, and Urban Meyer. Got to give those four as far as the coaches, as far as players. So I'm going to go with straight players. Of course, Tebow. Of course, Danny Wolfel. Spurrier won a Heisman, so you got to go him. And to all Gator fans, the most electrifying player that we've ever seen. Me personally, I love Jacques and I love Kwesi. He turned me on to him and Taylor. But you got to go with Percy there. So as far as players, I go with those four.
All right, CJ, hit us up.
If the George Washington on the Mount Rushmore is Steve Spurrier. When you talk about the all-time Gator, as far as just everything he's done at the university, nobody's done as much as Steve Spurrier. Like him, love him, or hate him, he's on there. Two, I'm going with Billy Donovan. Billy Donovan deserves to be on that because of the 2 national championships, because he is such a successful coach. He took a team that was maybe in the tournament once in a while to a team that was expected to win the conference and win the national championship every year. And that is an incredible job. So Billy Donovan's on the list. Tim Tebow has to be on this. Tim Tebow has been probably one of the greatest ambassadors for the university, as well as one of the greatest players we've ever seen in college football, period. And my fourth one, and nobody mentioned him, but I'm going to, was Ryan Lochte. Ryan Lochte won 6 Olympic gold medals. University of Florida graduate, swim team. He's won over 50 championships in swimming. Ryan Lochte deserves it. I mean, 6 Olympic gold medals in the freestyle swimming. Guys only rivaled by Michael Phelps. He's one of the greatest of all time. Lochte has to be on there for me. Nobody mentioned him, but I'm going to give him his flowers.
I was thinking of the gymnast from this past year. What's her name?
Trinity Thomas.
Trinity Thomas definitely is another one. Once she gets into the Olympics and she starts winning gold medals.
Oh, yeah, then she'll be on everyone's radar.
There's no telling.
Like, yeah, I was a fan of hers watching it.
There's no telling.
Yeah,
she built on the Wheaties box and everything else.
Man, I'm really stretched on this one, and I'm going to add somebody at the end that nobody else. I didn't hear anyone else mention either, and I'm surprised CJ didn't, as a matter of fact. But yeah, Spurs to George Washington. It's not even a question. Player, coach, brought Gator football back to the forefront. I mean, what can you say about Coach Spurrier? Tebow is next. Obviously, Tebow. If you say Florida Gators football now to this day, most everybody still thinks about Tim Tebow. It's that basket. See, the problem I have with the basketball part of it is you say Billy, and I almost want to make a 4-way face of Billy, Horford, Noah, and Brewer. Like it's just like this one entity. And it's weird to me because I don't put any, like, obviously Billy's the coach and Billy did everything. But you talk about that team, and I can't put Noah ahead of Horford, and I can't put Horford ahead of Noah, and I can't put either one of them without saying Brewer. Like, it's just like this.
And the best player was probably in his other class that was it the 90s with wasn't the 90s with Mike Miller probably was the best player out of all those guys.
I mean, hell, you say white chocolate if you want to. I don't,
or Jake Williams. I give you
Bradley Beal.
I mean, yeah, Gators. So I'm just going to have to say Billy Donovan with the other 3 names that I listed kind of like as subtitled underneath him. Like, it's just a weird thing to me. And number 4, Brad Wilkerson.
Brad Wilkerson's a good one.
Brad Wilkerson is Gator baseball to me, man. Like, that was the first guy that was like, oh man, that guy's a really good hitter. I mean, definitely. We've had some really good baseball players come after him. Whether you want to say Pete Alonso, you think about guys in the pros now that were Gators. I mean, and all the guys you think of, obviously, Zunino, India, Singer, Brady. Thank you. That's the one I was tripping on. I mean, we have tons of them. Even after, even guys before that, like Darren O'Day just retired. We've had a lot of great baseball players, but Brad Wilkerson set that table to me for Gator baseball. some of these other ones, I tried to list guys that were a little older, not necessarily, we've got Gator Athletics has come a long way, and there are so many names underneath that. Trinity Thomas is just the latest in a run of absolutely great gymnasts that have come from Florida. The track and field list, you can't not mention Mike Holloway, but golly, the track and field list of athletes we're probably not giving enough credit to at all. Gator Golf, I mean, we just won a singles national championship and competing for a national champion. It's just an unbelievable list of Gator athletics. And as fans, as general fans, we all just care about, well, what's the football team's record, when it's so much deeper than that. I mean, this is an athletic department that has won the SEC All Sports Trophy since most of y'all listening were kids. Yeah. I mean, it's just unbelievable. So, yeah, Jeremy Foley gets a lot of credit for that, too. I mean, a lot of people despise him now and think, oh, Jeremy Foley still got his thumb on this program, and that's why we can't move into we can't become good again. Look, you got a lot of championship hardware that you better thank Foley for while you're giving him grief. Like, you can't do one and not you can't say one thing and not give him credit for the other.
For sure.
Guys, thank you as always for all your great responses and interactions. There are no wrong answers on this question because it's your opinion.
Yep.
And as always, man, we respect your decision. Please respect ours. It's just how we feel personally, and that's what makes these community questions great. Is it's what works for you and what you feel, and there are no wrong answers. So thank you as always for your feedback and your interactions. Keep those questions coming, man. If you've got a question for next week's show and it's hitting you as you watch this, don't wait and put it on the Facebook group or on the Twitter page. Put it in the comments below, man. And if you're already subscribed to the channel, and while you're at it, hit a like on the video and drop that question, and you're in the running for the t-shirt. That's our giveaway of the month. It's that simple. So while you're here, man, just knock it out. And as always, guys, make sure if you want to support us as creators, you can check us out on our Patreon. Go to Respect Our Decision on Patreon, and you can support us there as creators. Anything we make from our Patreon, we put back in this show as far as doing these giveaways, just so we can give it back to y'all as fans and keep continuing to grow this brand. We appreciate you all so much. Y'all guys have been killing it, man, on the watches and the downloads on our podcast. We can't thank you enough. We're hoping for a really big month this month, guys, not just as a podcast, but as Gators, that this should be a really great month. And hopefully Billy Napier and company do great things. Hopefully the Gators baseball team takes it to Omaha and brings home the trophy there. Hopefully the Gators are winning that golf championship as we speak. So y'all be watching this on Saturday. Of course, y'all will already know the results of that by then. But guys, thank you so much as always. We love y'all, and as always, go Gators.
Go Gators.
Go Gators.